For the true test, we're testing out the speed of MSI's gaming router. Let's see how much the latency is. Okay, let's see how whoa! No way, latency is 9. Today, we're checking out MSI's very first gaming router, the RadiX AX6600 Wi-Fi 6 TriBand router. This video is sponsored by MSI to show you what this gaming router can do. It's a review unit, I don't get to keep it, but all the tests that I run in this video is absolutely factual, and I'll link the screenshots, the evidence of the speed test in the link below. To be honest, I was kind of hesitant when I was gonna make this video about this gaming router because the research, the reviews, the comments online were mixed. So I had to test it out for real to see just how true these 1-star reviews are. And after using this for 1 week, I am impressed. Here's the results. I compared this with my personal router setup and we see a much better gaming experience. I experienced 3 to 5 milliseconds lower ping while gaming, and that means less lag, great for gamers like you and me. And it also has a pretty decent Wi-Fi network range. So it's not all bad. MSI is, after all, a giant brand for all things gaming. This is a fact. Just do a Google search, you can see how much gaming stuff they make. So let's break it down. We're gonna go into what makes this router special, the speed test, and if you should upgrade to this gaming router. First, this has Wi-Fi 6. Why upgrade to Wi-Fi 6? Wi-Fi 6 has way faster speeds than Wi-Fi 5 or 4. So for instance, if you're paying for gigabit fiber optic internet, but your current setup is a Wi-Fi 5 router, which only gets you an average of 200 megabytes per second. So your router is receiving a gigabit of internet, but you can only get an average of 200 megabytes per second. So you are limited by that old router. And that's why Wi-Fi 6 routers like this will make your internet subscription more worthwhile, because it can actually make use of that high-speed internet that you are subscribed to. And this would be important if you have a large household, a lot of people in your house, or if you're using smart home gadgets like I do, because those smart speakers, those smart lights that we have, take up network load as well. And if you don't want to experience any connection drop during a very important Zoom call or say an intense fight in Palworld, you might want to make the upgrade to a Wi-Fi 6 router, something like this. But one feature that makes this gaming router stand out is that it comes with a 2.5 gigabits port. And that unlocks crazy speeds, especially if you are subscribed to really fast, high-speed internet. This 2.5 gigabit port is flexible, can be configured for WAN or LAN, so you can use it for receiving incoming internet from your modem, or you can connect your gaming PC directly to this to get the fastest network for streaming or intensive gaming sessions. But bear in mind, using this 2.5 gigabits port does not naturally make your internet faster. It requires other devices to have the same bandwidth to make use of all that speed. And if you're only paying for gigabit internet, this 2.5 gigabits port may be pretty useless. But if you are getting, say, 2 or 5 or 10 gigabits internet, then this port is go. It unlocks all of that speed for you. Number 3, the third Wi-Fi band in this router helped a lot in terms of receiving Wi-Fi network. It has a third band, another 5 GHz band with better specs than the first 5 GHz band. It has higher channel width and higher network speeds. And it works so freaking well, especially when I'm really far away from this router with doors and walls between us. I was still able to receive pretty decent Wi-Fi speed. And that was previously not possible with routers that only had 2 bands. Which brings me to this. This router has pretty good performance in my house. These were all the tests that I ran, but when we're looking at these numbers, I want you to bear in mind a few things. First, performance will differ with different layouts of the houses. So whatever speeds I get here may be slightly different from your house because we have different layouts in our house. Number 2, the further you are from the router, the more speed will drop. That is just a fact. So it is normal for speeds to drop when I'm walking away from the router. So because of that, what I wanted to compare was MSI's router versus my current setup that works so well for me. I wanted to see if MSI's router could beat that or be as good as that. Context, I live in a house with 2 floors, so in order to get good Wi-Fi all around, I had to get a router satellite setup. It's basically a router placed on the top of my bookshelf and 3 satellites placed strategically around the house. These satellites will talk to my routers and are like pseudo routers. So if I'm near these satellites, it's like I'm near a router and I get very good connection. I ran speed tests at different positions to test out the range. We start from right next to the router at the 0 meter mark to all the way to my studio at 10.8 meters away from the router, separated by doors, stairs, and concrete. So obviously, speeds will drop, and that is absolutely normal. What I found is that speed performance is pretty similar when we compare the RadiX to my own router setup. We get about 600 to 700 megabytes per second when router is in sight. And then we get to my studio, and that's where you can see the speed drops. But this is still pretty decent for me, and here's why. Back when I was still using the older ISP router, I used to get about 80 megabytes per second right here in my studio. And the whole reason why we're getting much higher speeds for my own personal router setup, it's because I have a satellite system right in my studio to get me fast speeds. So it's not exactly the best comparison here. These 2 setups are very, very different. So yeah, for me, I think these numbers are pretty good considering this is only a router and this is a router satellite system. And that's not all, because when I tested it for game latency, this gaming router performed better than my current setup. We are testing out Palworld right now. We're using MSI's router now, testing the ping, the latency. Ooh, we're getting 43 milliseconds. So that's our lag right there. Next, testing the ping with my current router. We are getting about 60 milliseconds of ping. That is so weird. 78 milliseconds of... Whoa. Oh my god. Oh my god, so much lag. So that was pretty surprising to me. I went on further to test out the range of this gaming router to see when I will completely stop receiving network. It drops around 14 meters when I'm away from the router with tons of concrete and doors between us. Now, all these hardware is important. It lets you enjoy super fast internet. But what happens when it's the holidays and you have like 20, 30 people or more in your house and everyone is fighting for this fast Wi-Fi? Well, network speed drops because traffic is just too congested. It's first in, first out. Whoever taps on this Wi-Fi first gets the fastest speed. So if in that moment, if you suddenly need to hop onto a very important Zoom call, you're gonna face a lot of lags. What do you do here? We're entering network traffic control. If you have a router that allows, and if you know how to do it, you can actually manually set the limits, set your laptop, your phone to the highest priority, and set all the rest lowest. So your router will prioritize your device and give you the fastest speed. This is called quality of service QoS. Yes, MSI's router can do that and more. They have this new feature called AI QoS. It's basically idiot-proofing the traditional QoS. Instead of going to this page and manually configuring this, you can use AI QoS. You can think of AI QoS as the traffic police when the highway is congested. So instead of first come first serve, the traffic police lets the important cars pass first and the rest will just have to wait. The AI QoS has 3 modes: gaming, streaming, and work from home. If you want to prioritize gaming traffic, you click on gaming and so on. This all sounds amazing, like future tag, all of that, but some people actually commented that it does not work. So I had to test it out. I started with the assumption, the hypothesis that, hey, if I turn on streaming mode, my Zoom call will slow down and I'll get faster speeds for watching Netflix. If I turn on the work from home mode, Disney Plus show will slow down and my Zoom call will get faster Wi-Fi speeds. That didn't happen. Nothing slowed down regardless of what mode I clicked. And then I realized, hey, my hypothesis was flawed. Even though that didn't work, it didn't mean that AI QoS does not work, because I only had 2 tasks running and each task took up about 5 to 15 megabytes per second. It hit maybe 50 megabytes per second once. And I was getting about 350 megabytes per second with my Wi-Fi. So if we do the math, I would need 7 devices consuming 50 megabytes per second in order to congest the network. Whatever test that was running did not congest the network at all. AI QoS, the traffic police, only comes in when the network is congested, when the highway is congested. So in conclusion, it's not the holidays, I don't have 20 people in the house, I wasn't able to replicate the problem. So the takeaway here is that if you're in a household with less than 7 people, you probably will not need to evoke AI QoS. There's plenty of internet bandwidth to go around. Watching Netflix took about 5 to 15 megabytes per second. Video calls took up only about 10 megabytes per second, and each of the smart devices was like bytes. Not even kilobytes, it's bytes. So it is fine, it worked fine. AI QoS is just a tool to manage your traffic, it's just the traffic police, and it only steps in when things get congested, like during holidays, when you have tons of people in the house, or if your partner is streaming an online game and taking up a shit ton of bandwidth, and your gigabit internet is just unable to keep up with the demand. What really sweetens the deal for me here is the software. I always have the preconception that routers are super difficult to set up, especially when it's new. You need to key in all sorts of weird numbers. So I would get my ISP guy to come down and set up for me. But for this, setup was so smooth and easy. I don't even have to connect my computer to this router. Everything was set up wirelessly. I loved it. A few steps. You just have to follow the instructions right here. Connect your modem to your router and then go into the web link and follow the on-screen instructions to create an account. And what's cool is that in these first few steps, they actually guide you into setting the name of each of the Wi-Fi bands. Not all routers do that. You typically have to create an account and then go into certain settings and then set up the SSIDs. Some routers only allow you to set up one SSID for all the bands. So this has a lot of flexibility. You can do a lot of things in this web interface. Once you've created your account, you're all set. You have your dashboard with quick access to AI QoS. And what's really cool is you can see the list of devices leeching onto your internet. You can also do typical things like set a timer to turn off your Wi-Fi, turn on firewall, and blacklist URLs. The mobile app is very similar to the web layout. You have your AI QoS mode smacked right here on the homepage. There is, however, still a bug. Can't change the SSID through the mobile app, but I have spoken to MSI and it will be resolved with a firmware update, and I'll link that below. That did not really bother me because once I set up my Wi-Fi SSID, I will not touch it, so I don't need to constantly go in to change. And honestly, my favorite thing is being able to see these live data, seeing which device takes up the most amount of my network load in real life. That data fascinates me. So yeah, I didn't really care about the rest. Overall, this is a solid build. It even has a quad-core 1.8 GHz processor to run all that amazing software that we just talked about. And this also has advanced cooling built in. Underneath, you can actually see heat pipes and graphene-coated heat sinks to keep it cool. It has been turned on for the past hour. It is warm, but not hot to the touch. So pretty good, I would say. It has 4 gigabit Ethernet ports and one of this 2.5 gigabits port, as well as one USB 3E port, so you can access your hard drive as long as you're connected to the Wi-Fi. Great for NAS systems. And oh, the button here is not pressable. It's just MSI's logo. This is not the model where you can press the dragon button and it will change the AI QoS mode and changes the colors of these antennas. It's not that. But that doesn't really matter to me anyway, because I can change that mode on my phone, my laptop, and my router is always put in a place that is high up above my bookshelf. Once it's set up, I never touch it again. But if you prefer that router that lights up, that changes color, that has the faster Wi-Fi 6E, I'll link it below. Should you get this? This is a decent Wi-Fi 6 router. My favorite features, the TriBand and the AI QoS feature. This will be a good buy if you're thinking of upgrading to Wi-Fi 6 and if you have a large household and you find yourself needing to constantly manage network traffic. This will come in very handy. And if your house can accommodate its Wi-Fi range, you have my data here so you can measure your house to see if it works for you. But I would love to hear in the comments if you will be getting this. And let me know if you have any questions about this before I need to return this to MSI. If you want to watch more videos like this, click here. If you found this helpful, like and subscribe. It really does help the channel. Thank you. I'll see you in the next one. Stay maintained, Cherry. Goodbye!